Hello folks, it's Eko, and today we're going to be talking about some of the interesting nuances of the blocks in Alpha 20 7 Days to Die. And to do that, I'm bringing it back to the Warden Shield. This was the first base that I built when Alpha 20 was released, playing with all these new blocks in here in my test world. But in this case, we're going to take some learnings we had from a recent video we did on blocks that you can shoot through. And in that, I noticed there was one block there that I would talk about later and had some interesting implications for gardening. And so from that, I came and built this crazy little farm over here that I want to show you around. Something a little bit different. I know a lot of folks like to build their bases underground. And so I've been thinking through, could I build a base underground but still have a farm without any light? And so after playing with the blocks, I came up with a solution to that. So let me show you what this looks like first. And then once we go through this, I'll show you the magic behind it. So you can see we're down here quite a ways underground. And here is our garden. And if we can look, we can see everything is growing nicely. Everything all lined up. And you can see up above, we have a nice solid ceiling. I've painted it, but this is all concrete. Everything around here is concrete. So here is our little bunker garden. So this is one way to do it. I'm going to show you another view, just to give you different ideas of how you could set up gardens without having any lighting. So the other one is an above ground garden, but if you had a Horde base and you just wanted to have it directly attached to the side, you could have something like this. So I've built this structure here, and just to make sure that, you know, I'm not cheating you here, you can see that the roof is solid the whole way across. We don't have any bars or anything like that. That would allow you to have light pass through. But once you come in here, again, we've got a full garden growing. Everything's doing well in here, and concrete ceiling here. And everything is otherwise good. So the lights I did, these are POI lights because I initially built the structures for speed over in the prefab editor, but these plants have all been planted here in a normal game and are growing just fine. So, how did we accomplish this little trick? So, to talk through this, I'm going to talk through some of the blocks that we went through in the video talking about blocks you can shoot through. And if you haven't seen that one, I'll link that up in the top right for you to check out. So this is the block that I called out. This is a Siding Burnt 01. Now, as I mentioned before, unique characteristic in that you can shoot through things here. So let's just put a zombie back here, put a couple Arlene's, and I've got her paused right now, but I can shoot through this block. You can see, and I took out Arlene and the block remains. And that's just, you know, it's your basic block that should have destroyed the block, but instead you can shoot through this all day long. I'm not going to do any damage to it. Well, while I was looking at this, I started to examine a lot of the attributes in the XML. And one of the specific attributes I came across was the light opacity 0. So this is going to call out all the blocks that light will pass through. When I initially looked at this, I was looking from the perspective of blocks you can shoot through, but then I found out there was a crossover on the opacity. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. So a lot of the blocks that we've typically used, like bars and things like that, are going to have an opacity of 0 to allow you to plant, or, you know, plant a farm below them. But this has a solid face to it. And that's when I realized they based the opacity off of a single side that you can view through. But what if I used this block top and bottom? This is my first thought when I was thinking through this. What if I took one of these and, for example, I made a double walled ceiling? So if I took this one and copy, and then we're going to rotate it. My thought was you'd make a roof something like this. Advanced rotate, where you could do, nope, there we go, that. So you'd have that on the ceiling, and you'd have that on the roof, and no one would be the wiser that this would be a block that you could have sunlight pass through easily, but still look like a solid barrier. So then I looked at the full list of blocks that had that light opacity 0, and I realized we've got this one, our Cube 1M hole. Again, it looks like they designed it based off of being able to see through this way, but it doesn't care which way it's rotated. So if you made an entire roof of these, you could grow plants without a problem. And yet another block we have, the air duct, which also has the same characteristics. In total, there are 292 shapes that have the light opacity 0 attribute. So if you want to pause this and take a look and play with any of those, there it is for you. I've highlighted the 3 that I referenced here in yellow. I'm sure there must be some others that you can play with. So let me know down in the comments if you find some other interesting ones. So the way we accomplish these underground gardens is by using these light opacity 0 blocks. First, I'll show you how I did this above ground one here. I'll flip into God mode and then go up into the ceiling. And here you can see that the ceiling is nothing more than a series of air ducts. But if I look from the roof, you'd have no way to tell that that was the case. It sees all of this as light opacity 0 and allows you to plant with ease in here. So when we look at how we did the underground bunker perspective, I've cut away everything so you can easily see it. But what I've done is I've got a series of air ducts going all the way up to the parking lot. So as long as I don't cover this and I have a clear line of sight to the sky above, then that's going to take us straight down and allow us to grow. Now, I'm going to cover a little bit of how this works because, you know, that's only 2 spots that you're going to have light. So anytime you are growing things, it's interesting. The light comes down straight in a straight line. So if I look, the light's going to come down. I've got 2 places that it's coming down, here and here. And I've color coded everything so that you can kind of follow along and understand what's happening here. And here you can see I've got, this time I just drew coffee everywhere and make it simple. But from the spot that the light hits the ground, you can grow plants up to 7 blocks out in each direction, and then it's going to taper in to create a diamond from there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then it's going to come back in a diamond shape. So anything outside of this area would not grow if I had a farm plot there, but anything inside this diamond will. Now, I am going to reference one other video for you. I'm going to put one on the top right from Pixel Life Gaming. He did a really great job of doing some of the research of the layout of the most efficient garden that you can make. So you should go check out his video because combination of me looking at the blocks and seeing his video inspired me to put this together. But you can see the intersection. Essentially, you've got 2 places for light to come in, and that covers the entire room. And I've just squared it off, so I'm not using the full extent of how far out you could go if you wanted to. So that, folks, is how we have created an underground garden. So let me know what you're going to do with this one. I hope you have some cool creative ideas. I want to see your gardens that you've put together. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this is giving you some inspiration of some cool stuff to build underground in your bunker. And otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Eko's out.